Watch this video. Is the Cammer really faster than the Hemi? The S were a golden age of American motorsport, but beneath the deafening roar of engines lay an epic battle between two automotive giants, Ford and Chrysler. Ford SOHC Cammer was a raw, untamed beast, capable of producing up to horsepower, but its revolutionary overhead cam design came with reliability woes and a controversial ban from NASCAR and forced to adapt. Ford took the fight to the drag strips, where the Cammer delivered thrilling wins but faced relentless challenges from its complex engineering. On the other side, Chrysler's Hemi emerged as the undisputed king of music. NASCAR, combining power and bulletproof reliability to dominate the Daytona and rack up an astonishing wins that season, but its reign sparked outrage among competitors, leading to its own ban and amidst cries that it was a true production engine. This is the story of how two engineering marvels went head-to-head, in a rivalry for the ages, fought against the odds, and redefined racing forever. Who truly won the battle of innovation and grit? That's for history and fans like you to decide. Stay tuned for more legendary automotive showdowns. In this video, we're going to break down the specs, the engineering, and of course the racing history of both the Cammer and the Hemi. From the dyno to the track, we'll leave no stone unturned as we try to determine which engine truly comes out on top. The challenge we face in determining which engine is faster is until as simple as looking at horsepower numbers or factory specs. Both of these engines have been subjected to countless modifications and tweaks over the years, and their racing legacies only add more complexity to the debate. The first hurdle is their design. Both the Cammer and the Hemi were engineered for extreme performance, but they were created with different approaches. The Cammer, for instance, was built with an overhead camshaft oak design, while the Hemi relied on its hemispherical combustion chambers. These differences affect how the engines perform in different situations, especially when it comes to high RPM racing. Another challenge is the era in which these engines were developed. The Cammer was built during a time when Ford was pushing the limits of technology to catch up with the success of the Hemi in the NH and other racing series. The Hemi, meanwhile, had already established its dominance on the track, especially NASCAR and drag racing. But not just looking at specs and history here, we need to consider the real-world performance of these two engines. To get a true understanding of their capabilities, we need to examine how they performed in head-to-head tests where the playing field was level and the only variable was the engine. Let us start by looking at the Cammer. Developed by Ford in the early S, the Cammer was part of Ford's strategy to break Chrysler's stranglehold on the NH. At the time, the Hemi was dominating the drag strips, and Ford needed an answer. Enter the Cammer. One of the Cammer's defining features was its overhead camshaft design, which set it apart from most other American versions of the era. VEC design allowed for better high RPM performance, and Ford's engineers used it to give the Cammer the edge at higher engine speeds. This engine produced upwards of horsepower in its most powerful form, though it wasn't just the horsepower that made it special. It was the precision of its engineering and its ability to rev much higher than its competitors. In terms of racing pedigree, the Cammer was no slouch. Dominated the SOHC road racing series and was a regular contender in NHH drag racing events, despite its relatively short production run and limited availability. The Cam's impact on the racing world was undeniable. Ford had created a high-revving powerhouse capable of taking on the Hemi on the track. Now, let us turn our attention to the Hemi. Chrysler's performance flagship developed in the late S, the Hemi was built with one thing in mind: power. Its hemispherical combustion chambers allowed for more efficient combustion, leading to a significant increase in horsepower. Chrysler also used a cross-ram intake manifold to maximize airflow, giving the Hemi a slight edge in toped performance. By the time it hit its peak, the Hemi was capable of producing over horsepower in its race version, the Hemi SOHC on the track is legendary. In addition to dominating NH drag racing, it was a powerhouse in NASCAR, where it became known for its endurance and consistent performance. The Hemi durability was unmatched, and it quickly became a favorite among racers and enthusiasts alike. Both engines were engineered for speed, but they were designed with different philosophies. The Hemi was built for raw power and Durability, while the Cammer was created for high RPM performance and precision, but when it comes to a head-to-head comparison, the real question is which one's approach is ultimately faster. Let us talk performance to settle the debate. We need to look at some two-head tests that pit these two power plants against each other. One of the most notable tests was a quarter-mile race between a Ford Mustang equipped with a Cammer and a Dodge Charger, powered by a Hemi. The results were surprising. Despite the Charger advantage in raw horsepower, the Mustang crossed the finish line in just seconds, while the Charger finished at seconds. How did the Mustang manage to pull ahead even with less horsepower? The answer lies in the Cammer's high RPM capabilities. The Hammer's design allowed it to rev higher and accelerate more efficiently, making it faster in a short-distance drag race. While the Hemi had more raw power, the Cammer was able to translate that power into quicker acceleration, giving it the edge in this specific test, but performance is not just about straight-line speed in road racing. The Cammer also held its own thanks to its ability to rev higher and maintain control at high speeds. The Hemi, while incredibly strong WR, was better suited for endurance racing and longer tracks where its torque could shine the S. Motorsports scene was not just an era, it was a battleground, with Ford and Chrysler locked in a high-octane duel for supremacy. The rivalry burned hot as the two automotive giants squared off, each wielding a mechanical masterpiece that pushed the limits of innovation and performance. So which engine is truly the faster of the two? It's clear that both the Cammer and the Hemi have their strengths. However, the Cammer's high-revving SOHC design gives it a significant advantage in acceleration and handling, making it the better performer. In short races and road racing scenarios, ultimately the faster engine depends on the type of racing. On a drag strip, the Hemi might have a slight edge in terms of raw power, but the Cammer's quick revving performance might make it the better choice. For short sprints on a road course, the Cammer's precision and high RPM capabilities give it a definite advantage. Both engines became symbols of their respective brands, but neither escaped the crucible of scrutiny, rule changes, and relentless innovation. The Ford Cammer and Chrysler Hemi did, and just compete, they inspired and defined an era of motorsport rivalry, forever etching their names into the annals of automotive history. This is more than a story of engineering. It's a tale of competition, resilience, and the relentless pursuit of victory. Ford versus Chrysler, Cammer versus Hemi, the rivalry that reshaped racing and proved that legends are forged in the heat of battle. Now that you've seen how the Cammer and Hemi compare, we want to hear from you. Which engine do you think takes the crown? Is it the high RPM precision of the Cammer or the raw power of the Hemi? Drop your comments below. And let us continue the debate. Percent of our viewers are not subscribed to the channel. We really appreciate your support and kindness. If you would click like and subscribe, that helps us grow in unimaginable ways. Be sure to check out our other videos. Thank you for watching.